Alright, let's try something. Hogwarts Legacy. It's a good game. CPU intensive. Also, well, intensive in general. And I've been wanting to try something with lower end parts, which I have laying around. Well, that's my hobby. Yeah. So here's the game, and we're playing on full HD, 1080p. Currently, yeah. Well, let's keep it on FSR2 quality, and otherwise everything is low except for the texture quality is medium. So what parts we have in this rig? Currently we have a Asus dual GTX 1060 6GB model. This one is overclocked so that the core frequency is around 2040, 2070 even sometimes. And clock you can see here. Medium textures is well, doable with a 6 gig VRAM buffer. And we have a 4-core 4-thread processor, which was what I wanted to see, that how is it with the 4-core 4-thread. There are videos actually with this exact same model. So this is a Devil's Canyon Haswell i5-4690K, currently at stock. So there was some footage over YouTube where people were running this same CPU stock. So now this is not going to be anything new. I'm gonna take some tests in the CPU intensive areas of the game. So in Hogsmeade and inside of the Hogwarts castle. Because outside of castle and Hogsmeade, the more GPU intensive areas, we already know that GTX 1060 6GB model can drive this game pretty much all the time over 60 FPS in this resolution, especially with the FSR2. Alright, so now we are already in Hogsmeade, and I'm going to go from here, from Brudenbeck all the way until Spintwitch's Sporting Needs. Running, but not really running, checking the FPS and tracking it all at the same time. So here we will have the frames per second, average frames per second, and the 1% low dips, as well as the frame time graph. So the lower the frame time, of course, better, but the more stable, the better. So it is going to be fluctuating now because it's going to be CPU bound scenario, and it tends to fluctuate more when it's CPU bound. So yeah, okay, let's go. This is going to be the stock run, and then we are gonna have an overclock run. And we start with Hogsmeade on both, and then we try it on Hogwarts as well. Okay, so here we are, right away dipping way below 60. And let's start tracking those FPS numbers now. And let's go. And when we see more people around us, it's gonna dip more. All the way to the 20s. High 20s still, not low 20s. Pretty. Alright. Like console-like experience, although sometimes dropping below 30. Like there was a spike. You could feel that. Feel the music is so loud. Meant to put it lower. Alright, so we are in the end, 35 FPS. I'll take a print screen here. 35 average, 21 1% low. Alright. Let's change the scenario. We shall go to Hogwarts. And I want to go to this yard here, because that's very intensive indeed. So what I want to try to find out is that can you get the game playable if you are running a CPU from this sort of era? This is from the DDR3 era, from the end of it. But I would expect similar kind of performance, especially after the overclocking from even older models. If you can hit some similar frequencies. I think this game is actually more frequency first and then the threads, because I've been running the game with a Core i7-4690K, so it will clock to pretty much to 3.5, max 3.8, but 3.5 pretty much all the time in the game. So that's those extra threads, because it has 8 threads, they don't help. Although, yeah, well, this is from a newer era. It has better instructions per clock numbers, so it's more efficient processor already. Alright, well, whatever. Now, let's start tracking the numbers from here. Did I? Yes. Alright, and then slowly take away. Now there's not so much people here. Or, yeah, here. The more, the unmerrier, let's say. Alright, yeah, we are going to the 20 town. This place, even without people, is rather heavy, this end of the yard here. Alright, 25 we saw there. Let's go inside. This is also a heavy place. 26. Yeah, it's barely there.
It's a relief to finally have an answer as to why that portrait was empty.
Let's have some circles around this place here. Turning around. Turning around. Alright. And staying here. Yes. So it's 33, 34. Print screen there. Okay. So, yeah. We know that if we... Well, let's try it. We go outside of the area. Let's go to like the Forbidden Forest area here. Where was the entrance? Here, yeah. Alright, let's go there. So now we will go to more graphics card bottleneck scenario where the CPU can relax a bit. So it should be better. Although, okay. I'm a bit amazed that it's not so much, it's not that good. Alright, let's take the broom and fly a bit. Oh, let's track the numbers here too, but... Is it... Why is it like 40s? It's still CPU bound. When you see the graphics card utilized like 70, 80, like pretty much when it's always when it's less than 95, it's gonna be somewhat CPU bound. So now it's fully CPU bound. Why? That's interesting. Interesting indeed. So I must even take a look at, are the settings the same? Feels unreal. Everything is. And yes, low latency is off. It should be off. Alright. That's interesting. So we are CPU bound pretty much all the time. So the GTX 1060 cannot shine like it would otherwise. Well, yeah, well, this is what you can expect if you... What is happening? If you're running stock with this kind of a processor here, or anything lower.
Target practice.
Yeah, so you can expect not to hit 60 FPS with the GTX 1060 6 gig card. Alright, this was just like a bonus to take a look at how it runs here. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back to BIOS and put my overclock profile on, which has 4.5 gigahertz all the time to all of the cores. So we can see what kind of difference does that make. Right back at you. Yes, back to business. Same PC but different settings, and now we have 4.5 gigahertz on all of the 4 cores as displayed here. And yeah, we are already standing in Hogsmeade and just double checking that we have same settings here, texture quality medium, otherwise everything low, and over here FSR2 on quality and resolution full HD. No latency, NVIDIA low latency or anything else changed here. Great. Alright. And here we are standing at the same starting point. And let's put this helper on the way and then let's track those frames. And let's take our time easily all around here. What we had 35 and then 1% lows at 21 without the overclock. Let's enjoy this heavy plays a bit, maybe even a bit more than without the overclock. Yeah. What else we have in this computer? We have 4 times 4 gigs of DDR3, so 16 gigs in total. Basic sticks DDR3 1600, 10, 10, 10, 30. That sort of stuff. So very common stuff. Alright, here we are. And then let's take a print screen here. And we had 45. It was 35 and 21. 45 and 24. Right away starting to rise and when we stand still. Yeah. So yeah, that's 10 frames more. And I must say that it feels much better. That difference when you're not you're very rarely dipping into the 20s, and it does feel different. So overclocking really helps with this 4-core 4-thread old processor in this game. Alright, let's go quickly to Hogwarts. See what's the happy haps there. Let's try to make similar run here. Over at the yard. Yep, here we are. It still is heavy. No denying that. Processor utilization hit 97 there. That's good. Alright, let's try to hang around a bit. Same way as we did earlier. Yeah, dipping into the 30, low 30s. Still, even with the overclock, it's going to the night time soon. I didn't want that. Oh, dipped into the 20s also. So that does happen also now on 4.5 gigahertz. High 20s are being observed, and the frame time graph is jumpy. It's not yet so late in Hogwarts that there wouldn't be people around, which is good, because now that's what we wanted. This, I must say that it must be that this evening is actually affecting. Because now it is pretty much similar like it was without the overclock. So evening is even harder to run when the students are still around. Alright, so what I want to do, we had 34:17 and now we have 38:20. That's almost the same. So what I want to do is I want to still keep it as apples to apples as possible. So wait. Yes. Our character will be very rested. Yes. Okay. This can do. Okay. Let's start again here. So we are in Hogwarts, in the place where we started the first one. Let's track those frames and look around. Socialize with the people. Alright. Low 30s there. Do we get to the 20s? Yes, we do. 25. Inspected. Or like. Oh, yes. It is very heavy on the CPU. Very, very heavy. Frequency does matter, but it's now in Hogwarts it seems to be heavier.
It's a relief to finally have an answer.
Alright, I think we are pretty much at the same place and same amount of time. I'll take a print screen here. We get, well, the average is rising fast, so it was around 40, 41. It was 34 earlier, so a small difference, not big one. But now that we have the overclock dialed in, it is raising to the 60s also sometimes. The frame times are not so nice. Yeah. That spiky thing in the bottom there on green color, it is spiky. But okay, let's now go outside of the castle, outside of Hogsmeade also. Let's go to the Forbidden Forest, where we could not hit 60 earlier. And after that I was flying around a bit and couldn't hit 60 even in outside of the forest. What's heavy in the forest, I think, is the river. This river here. This is a heavy river. Yes. Alright. So, I might as well track the frames here also. So now this is different. It does go below 60 also, but it is much more GPU bound, which is what you want. Because GPU bound is better. Well, yeah, now we are okay again. CPU bound.
Abandoned long ago, no doubt.
But still hitting the 60s, which is nice. What is this? This I'm not sure of. We've been playing with my wife this game for like 50 hours. That I don't know what it is. Interesting. Okay, but we are hitting over 60 frames per second average. We are of course also making dips. Frame time graph is jumpy, but it's much more playable, and you could enjoy the game like this. And now if we go outside of this forest here, admire the views, we should be able to get fully GPU bound here. Well, not actually, but still hitting 70s. Boy, this is a heavy game. So yeah, you can play like this, I would say. Now we are GPU bound, 97%. It's fluctuating a lot. That's why you also will experience a lot of fluctuation in the frame time graph. But I would argue this is playable. You cannot make the game much lower stress for the CPU anymore, and this CPU, the sweet spot is in 4.5 gigahertz. I cannot get the frequency higher. If you have a better sample, if you can get like 4.7, well, it doesn't make a big difference, but it does make some difference. But yeah, the game is somewhat playable. Now we're getting well, still less than 60, but close to 60 on average. Depends a lot on the area. Yeah. Spiky still, but playable. So this is how the game runs on 4-core, 4-thread processors from the DDR3 era. Of course, this is from the better side of that processor stack, because it's the Haswell Devil's Canyon, pretty much the best one, maybe you could argue, from the DDR3 era of these 4-core 4-thread models. But I would say you could hit close to this in with like a 3570K or well 2500K. Yeah, with 2500K is the good thing is that when you overclock, you don't need to think about the temperature pretty much at all, because they are soldered. So the integrated heat spreader is soldered, not with the thermal paste. So you don't need to make tricks like I did today for this one. I couldn't hit these kind of frequencies without making a D-lid first and putting some liquid metal between the IHS and the core itself.
These rocks have seen
But
better
when
days.
if you can do that, then you can do this. Yeah. All right. I think this is about it. The game is not optimal, but you can play it, and this is a demanding title, very demanding. So I guess this is good. Yeah. All right. That's it for now. So game on.